This is Jeremy Zwinger with the Rice Trader, just doing the weekly summary for the April 1st, 2019 Rice Trader Report. What can be summarized by this week? You know, we are definitely fighting the continued battle of very, very high global supplies against slow trade, but also now we're starting to face some weather issues, which are going to complicate this, and definitely a key factor to watch. We see it in the U.S. with the extreme wetness, and we definitely see it in Asia with some dryness. You know, this El Nino in the bottom of 11-year solar cycle is notorious for causing production issues. As an example, you know, we're seeing it in the Philippines with some real questions on production. We're seeing some dam closures in Cambodia. You know, we're seeing some reservoir issues in Thailand already. And, you know, questions, is this going to actually spread to Vietnam and other areas? You know, the USDA's put record world production out. Is that going to happen? Well, let's add the complexity to that. The U.S. is clearly one of the wettest in history. There is massive amounts of snow in my home area of North Dakota, to the point they're expecting flooding. And this is a precursor to the flooding already going in Nebraska. So I mean, very, very bearish on the overall system with such high production, every major grain, such high stocks. These short-term things may give a great opportunities for some price spikes. It may be, especially in the U.S., these are the highest prices they'll see as we have some production issues, and then windows will come and allow these growers to get in the field. You know, so that's a key thing I'm seeing right now, just personally. You got to watch the weather in the midst of high supplies, in the midst of everything going on. And you definitely see it in prices this week. Some concerns that are happening in the market. You saw Vietnam rise up again, just on the heavy amount of demand they booked in, previously being so cheap. You just saw a lot of this type of stuff going on. You know, the market firming up a little bit just on concerns of what may happen, and also already, especially with Vietnam booked in demand. What are some other things that we have coming up? We definitely have an Iraqi tender that should be announced very soon. At least the offers are in to be finalized on the 31st. So that's of interest to the trade. You know, there's an Egyptian trade soon also coming up for a tender. And then there's also the Chinese and the Philippines buying as normal. So, you know, there's some normality in this market. I think I would say some of the most interesting news is maybe the Thai elections. For our friends in Thailand, we continue just to hope for positive times. We wish always the best for Thailand and believe it's a great country. And these elections definitely showed a variety of views in the world market on who shall be in power or how the power will be shared. And so it's still not clear how the new government will be formed in Thailand, but definitely needs to be watched very closely for the stability of the rice market and the region. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be Thailand being positive as is normal. What else are we seeing in the region? Continued sales from Pakistan to China, and also China exporting as they have the last couple of years. So, you know, it's a very, very fascinating time. In a few minutes, of course, I must also bring up that we have the prospective plantings report, which is always the biggest time for the year on reports. You know, it's not the most accurate report because it's based upon surveys from a month ago, but it definitely gives a snapshot, a first snapshot of what we see. And with that, I'm gonna kind of move to you guys seeing me, to sharing my screen, and just some of the things I'm looking at when I look at the overall market. So let's just start with the futures market. And my favorite website that I like to use is farms.com. It's an old DTN website. You can just see that the movements from this report were extremely negative on wheat, corn, soybeans. And of course, there were stock reports too. So one should look at the deferred months. Always good to see. That was pretty uniform in wheat. In fact, very negative in wheat. But rice is always the key one, you know, and you definitely saw the same negativity in rice. And the question would be why? Well, let's look at some of the graphs in rice. As I scroll down here, there was a couple key graphs. I hope this is seeable. And we say it pretty clearly in the report. The first one, we'll start with stocks report. You know, it happens the same day. The key thing is the stocks are massively up. We've been saying this, the market knows it, but March 1st, it's a 20 million, 23 million hundredweight increase in stocks. That's massive. And the concern is demand is very weak. with the U.S. being high. They're betting on Iraq, which may or may not come. A lot of the market share has moved away from Mexico. And you're moving into a time when the South American crops are coming on and are really going to compete against the U.S. So having this level of stock at this point is a major concern, with no perceivable big business coming the U.S. way, and Latin America really being challenged by the majors. I know many leaders seem to be very concerned with this high price and low quality being shifted to the region, and the fact that a lot of South American and Asian competition is coming in. You know, you saw this week in a couple different ways. You saw Mexico critically open up to Uruguayan paddy with no restrictions. You saw Colombia open up to Peru with no restrictions. These are big deals. It actually kills some of the political trade we see going on, and definitely a key factor for the U.S. So with high stocks, what do we get for planting? For planting, you know, you kind of got a little bit of a surprise, and I'll break it down just for us. You know, almost no change in long grain, 2% change. Mind you, this is a survey and doesn't take in the rain we've been having and the El Nino effects, which are significantly affecting this market. And so, you know, that's interesting. It's highly questionable. With the farm bill being so positive to rice, it could be higher, but it's a weather game, and you're going to roll the dice on weather. You don't know what's going to happen. So that's what I would say. It's a very difficult report to say this is actually the acres, but it shows that even with weather concerns, the guarantee of the $14 as long as you have base is such an attractive mechanism right now that you're going to have strong acres. And I'd just like to highlight here, if you look at acres in 2017, they were 2.4 million acres. Last year it was 2.9. This year it's 2.8 million, and we've made up that much stock. So you have over 400,000 more acres estimated this year than 2017. So you have massive carry, you have massive stocks, you have huge, huge price premium to Asia, you have quality issues. This is, again, a real mechanism, a real recipe for failure, a real recipe for very low demand, like we saw last year with the lowest demand for the U.S. since 1997. It doesn't seem to be that the U.S. players are concerned, which is a surprise. You're not hearing about this at meetings. You're not hearing the emergency type events you would expect from such things. So, you know, it's an interesting piece. Definitely to watch it closely. I think it's a lot of opportunity for our Asian clients to shift material that direction. What else? Again, you know, as you know, we always do good summaries. You know, I just would always point to them as I have the last several weeks. And again, at the bottom, we always show the weekly specials, and there's quite a few of them. You know, we already talked about the U.S. New reports on prospective plantings and stocks, very key reports. There was also a belated update on the official data from USDA, which we put in the report this week. We also have updates on Argentina, Mexico, Haiti, and of course our monthly Vietnamese update, which is also a very good key piece. You know, in this, you're definitely seeing the factors with the data backing it up of large stocks. You know, Vietnam definitely got demand on the low price. A lot of interesting things coming out of Latin America. But, you know, it's a very interesting week. This is a key week for the world trade. When we get prospective plantings, it's kind of a turn in some ways to look at what's going to happen in the coming year. And so I find this week a very, very fascinating, good week. It's a great rice trader to review. And things are getting a little volatile. You know, we asked the question early in the year and, you know, kind of played the both sides. Could the market go down below 300? You know, right now it's the concerns of the crop that is actually pushing it up. And that's the balance. If these crop concerns, you know, do not come through and stuff like the Indian crop being raised by 5 million tons continues to happen, then what happens to price? You know, very careful thing here. It could be that prices significantly stay in this range, but I think you're going to see some wild action. This El Nino is a concern that must be watched, though. So with that, I'm just going to end this week's report. I don't like to really go over 10 minutes giving a summary of the market. I would, of course, invite you all to our upcoming conferences. I have a really nice one coming up August 1st. It's going to have a rice beer event here in Sacramento, where we're at, a rice food conference, and this is where we pick the chef who shows the world conference. It's going to be a really good event. There's also a lot of rice researchers that were coming. It's Erie's 20th anniversary, our Fuse's 20th anniversary here. Actually, Erie's reunion and our Fuse's Asian Rice Foundation's 20th anniversary, and we're helping them out to just bring some of the players together. And of course, the World Conference is going to be November 11 to 13th, and that is shaping up to be an amazing, big and dynamic conferences, and we're working to improve, on all levels. And so with that, we're looking forward to seeing you. We're going to be in Thailand just in a few weeks for the Thai conference. I believe we arrive around the 20th and leave the 29th of May. And I look forward to that as well, to see our great friends in Thailand and just to get an update of the overall market. So with that, I'm going to end the summary. I hope you guys have a great weekend and look forward to talking to you next week.